All right, John Wick, let's see what you got. All right, the hotel scene. It's got some good action. All right, they're creeping in here. What? Oh. Pistols first, huh? I like that. All right, what's next? Oh. Pulling out the old AR, huh? Get behind that. All right. Oh, man, they're getting you pretty good out there. What do you got next? Oh, shotgun. You're lucky I've got a cushion shotgun right back here. Here we go. That had to have worked. Let me make a quick call real quick. Finally, Consumer Reports rating hemorrhoid creams. Oh, not this guy again. Hello. Yeah, hey neighbor, what's up? Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, just had a quick question for you. Did that tickle? What? Tickled? No, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Well, I was watching John Wick 3 over here, and I was just calling to see if you felt that, if it tickled. Dude, no, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I don't have time for this. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I got an idea. I'm going to throw it together real quick. I know you're not going to be home later, so I'll call your wife and ask her then. Excuse me? All right, got to go. Well, not going to need you anymore. I think that should do it. Man, that intro has me a little worn out. Welcome back to Life of Bliss and the next installment in Operation Neighbor Tickler. What you see behind me here is 3 stereo integrity HS-24 subwoofers. These are 24-inch woofers that I got from my home theater down here in my basement. And if you've been following along, you'll know I've had the center one built for a few months now, and I finally got the time to get the other 2 that are going underneath the screen built here just recently. And this past week I've got them installed, I've got them all tuned up, so I figured I would go over the build with you guys and then give you some demos here towards the end of the video. But before we go on any further, I'm sure most of you, along with my wife, are wondering what's going on in this area here. Well, I'll tell you, like I told my wife, if you're going to be going door to door asking your neighbors if what you did last night tickled them, you better look the part. Also, real quick, by the time this is uploaded, I'll probably have over 20,000 subscribers on the channel. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to each and every one of you guys. I really do appreciate all the support you guys have given me with watching, subscribing, liking, and I really do enjoy bringing this content to you. I enjoy building this stuff. I hope you guys learn something from it. And if not, I hope you just laugh a little bit while you're here and enjoy the content. So let's go ahead and get started with the build. The first step is to always have a game plan. These 2 boxes will be on either side of the center channel. The sub boxes will have a short extension towards the middle to maximize airspace and to raise the center channel to the bottom of the screen. Just like the first box that I made, these will have a double front baffle of 3/4 inch plywood with the rest of the construction made from MDF. For cutting the front and rear panels, I cut most of the lower shelf out on the table saw and finished up the corner with a jigsaw. So apparently I can't do math. I was wanting to make the height an inch taller than what I did. I accidentally subtracted 2.5 inches instead of 1.5 inches for the top and bottom plates to go on there. So I'm already cutting it pretty close. That's just gonna make it a little bit closer, but we're gonna roll with it. I think it's gonna be okay. The next step is to take the template that it came shipped in. We're gonna transfer this onto the front baffles, get all those cut out, get the sides and bracing cut out, and start assembling everything. So using a flush trim bit in the router, I was able to make a cutout for the sub. This is a double thick front baffle, so the other piece was generously covered in wood glue, spread with my finger because I'm an animal and don't have a brush, and both pieces clamped and secured with several brad nails. With both pieces attached, I used the same process with a flush trim bit to cut out the second hole. Focusing on the rear for a moment, I use a Forstner and auger bit to drill out a flush mount opening for the speak-on connector. With all the pieces cut, it's time to start assembling the boxes. As you can see, I'm a glue and nail kind of guy. I'm able to get the boxes assembled fairly quickly and the nails hold it together as the glue dries. I put together everything besides the tops. Those were left off so I could take accurate measurements and install the internal bracing. And while we're at it, let's talk about that for a moment. I really hate making internal bracing. This is hands down probably the most time-consuming part of the build. But it's necessary to make the box rigid to decrease distortion and make sure that these monster 24-inch woofers don't shake them to pieces. The goal was to have bracing spread out no further than every 8 to 9 inches on open panels. The corners didn't need any bracing, nor did the front baffle, but some was still added to it anyways. I started off with 2 window braces for the lower shelf and added the top to that section. Bracing for the larger section included 2 braces that spanned across the back to both sides with some smaller braces added later. These were centered in place with a few small blocks, then glued and nailed into place. Any larger areas along the bottom were filled in with smaller bracing. To finish up, one last brace was added between each side before the top was put on to help brace that as well. When cutting the tops and bottom pieces for the box, I left them a few inches longer than needed. This allowed me to come back with a flush trim bit on the router and get a perfect edge along each of the joints. I'd also like to take a moment to let you know how horrible MDF dust is. Just nasty stuff. Gets all over the place, bad for your health. Always wear a respirator when cutting MDF. I cleaned everything off and moved the boxes downstairs for adding woofers. It may look small, but everything in the basement was wired with 12-gauge speaker wire. I threw a few pounds of polyfill in the small compartment of the box, added some gasket tape around the frames, and secured the woofers into place using some Spax wood screws. I used some threaded inserts and bolts on the first box I built, and they seemed to be more trouble than they were worth. With the front baffle being 1.5 inches thick, these wood screws will have no problem holding the 115-pound sub. To isolate the center channel and to raise it up a bit, I used some 1.5 inch thick isolation pads. I still need to paint the sub boxes, so I didn't remove the paper on the adhesive backing, but after some spirited demos, nothing seems to have moved, so I don't plan on doing so even after painting. The center channel is still just about 1/2 inch lower than the sub boxes, but I plan on fixing that once everything is painted up as well. So at this point, everything down here is built and in place. I still need to come back and put a front plate on all 3 woofers to recess that woofer a bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint them just like the towers and center channel are. It's going to be a few weeks before I could dedicate my garage to do that, so I wanted to get everything down here and just enjoy it for a bit before that happened. Now for what you've been waiting for, the demos. Everything is going to be ran through a Yamaha RXA 3070 receiver with a PlayStation 4 as a source. Powering all of the speakers is going to be a Emotiva XP-A7 Gen 3 for the 5 main level speakers and the 2 Atmos speakers above. The subwoofer amplifier is a Symbosen FP20000Q. This is a 4-channel amp that does 2,000 watts per channel RMS and about 4,000 watts peak per channel. I spent a few hours the other day getting to know the Mini DSP software and working with Rue to get everything tuned in real nice. Before any equalization, I had a real bad spike around, I think it was 50 hertz. I mean, it's just like almost 15 or 20 dB high, and it really did not look or sound that great down here. After doing some equalization though, I got everything pretty flat from 80 all the way down to about 7 hertz, which is pretty darn low. I did a little bit of compression testing as well and was able to get the entire frequency range anywhere from about 110 to 115 decibels. I started to hear a little bit of mechanical noise from the woofers in the real low notes, so I decided to cut it off from there, but I am getting some pretty good sound from these. Now, as far as what you'll be seeing for the demos, I'm going to be having a camera on the woofers so you can see what they're doing, and I'm also going to be having the UMic 1 in the listening position and hooked up to Rue and looking at the real-time analysis so you can see kind of what's going on in the room and not just looking at a speaker. RTA will show you the frequencies that are being played at any given time, and we'll also keep track of the peaks so you can kind of get a good idea of what you'd be listening to if you would be in the room here. And with that, I'm going to head you guys out with some demos. If you're new here, please be sure to check out some of the other videos on the channel, including the backlit screen that I built, some DIY movie poster acoustic panels, and other fun stuff like that. If you enjoyed looking at this mustache this entire video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for checking out Life of Bliss, and enjoy the demos.